Hello hockey fans and welcome back to another video. In December of 2020, I released a video detailing Doug Jarvis's entry to the NHL's record books as the owner of the longest Ironman streak in league history. From its humble beginnings back in 1975 to his 964th consecutive game in 1987, Jarvis may not have been a superstar, but the 1976 Stanley Cup champion had raised the bar to a seemingly unbeatable level. That is, until last week, when Philadelphia Flyers defenceman Keith Yandle tied Jarvis's record on January 24, 2022. Though he had just matched a total that had gone uncontested for nearly 4 decades, the veteran blueliner would go one step further, as less than 24 hours later on January 25th, Yandle took to the ice in his 965th consecutive game, broke Jarvis's record, and became the new owner of the longest Ironman streak in NHL history. But how did he do it? How did Yandle secure a place in the league for so long, avoid any major injuries for well over a decade, and break one of the league's toughest, most difficult records? Well, in today's video, let's take a deep dive into the defenseman's career and find out. This is the story of Keith Yandle, the NHL's new Iron Man. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by MyBookie. MyBookie is an online gaming platform complete with traditional sports betting and exclusive contests that give you the chance to put your sports knowledge to the test and make some dough while you're at it too. Whether it's hockey, football, basketball, or the UFC, by using the promo code ODDMAN at MyBookie, new customers who make their first deposit with my code will receive double the money to play with, all the way up to $1,000. For example, deposit $100, get $200 to play with. It's really that simple, folks. MyBookie also accepts a variety of payment options to give you the freedom you deserve with your money, and they even accept popular cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, so you can bet and withdraw your winnings with crypto whenever you want. Head on over to MyBookie now and use the promo code ODDMAN to double your first deposit of up to $1,000 and put your sports knowledge to the test. That's promo code ODDMAN to double your first deposit of up to $1,000 only at MyBookie. MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Minimum deposit of $45. Please gamble responsibly. But anyway, back to the video. In order to tell this record-breaking tale, allow me to take you back to July 31st, 2005, when American defenceman Keith Yandle, who had spent the prior 04-05 season at Cushing Academy and had scored 54 points in just 34 games, was selected 105th overall in the 2005 NHL draft by the Phoenix Coyotes. Though he had originally planned to attend the University of New Hampshire after his selection, academic struggles and a desire to focus solely on his hockey career meant that Yandle instead joined the Moncton Wildcats of the Quebec Major Junior League. Having taken his talents north of the border and having doubled down on hockey, the former 4th round draft pick would quickly prove that he had made the right choice. Playing alongside future NHL mainstays in Brad Marchand and Jason Demers, Yandle's 25 goals and 84 points in just 66 regular season games would not only earn him the Emile Bouchard Trophy as the Q's Defenseman of the Year and the TELUS Cup as the best defensive player in the league, he would also set a new franchise record for the most points by a blueliner in Wildcat history. Oh, and he was also named to the QMJHL's first All-Star team, helped Moncton clinch the 2006 President's Cup as league champions, was named to the CHL's first All-Star team, and won their Defenseman of the Year award too. Not bad for a rookie, eh folks? Having made a strong first impression during his debut year in the Q, and having dominated his contemporaries as an overager, Yandle would sign an entry-level contract with the Coyotes on May 5th, 2006, turn pro for the following 06-07 season, and join Phoenix's AHL affiliate, the San Antonio Rampage, shortly after. However, just a few weeks later, on October 11th, 2006, Yandle would earn the opportunity of a lifetime, as he was called up to Phoenix's roster just a few games into the season, and would suit up in his NHL debut. So after being taken in the 4th round of the draft less than 2 years prior, and after failing to get into college due to his grades, Keith Yandle had just earned his first shot in the best league in the world. I guess focusing on his hockey career was the right decision after all. Though Yandle would end up playing just 7 NHL games that season and register 2 assists in that span, the defenceman would spend the rest of the year in San Antonio and produce a strong debut for the team, as he potted 6 goals and 33 points in 69 AHL games during his first pro season. Yandle would also begin the following 07-08 season with the Rampage, but after notching 15 points in his first 30 games of the year, and after being named to the 2008 AHL All-Star Game, the former 4th round pick would return to the show, as he was recalled to the Coyotes roster soon after. From there, Yandle would spend the rest of the year with Phoenix and produce a respectable rookie season in the league, as the 22-year-old potted 5 goals and 12 points in 43 games, as the Coyotes finished 12th place in the Western Conference standings. Though he was still finding his footing and trying to establish himself against the best of the best, Yandle would end up sticking around for quite some time. The 08-09 NHL season would see Yandle attend Phoenix's training camp for the 3rd year in a row, impress the team's coaching staff during preseason, and earn a spot on the Coyotes' opening night roster. From there, the defenceman would spend the entire year in Phoenix and become a productive two-way player for the team, as he finished 7th on the roster in scoring with 4 goals and 30 points in 69 games. Having missed 13 of the Coyotes' 82 games that year, and having been scratched against the Anaheim Ducks on March 22, 2009, Yandle would quickly return for Phoenix's next game against the Edmonton Oilers on March 26th and remain in the lineup for the rest of the year. Though this late-season contest against the Oilers seemed like a routine matchup in Yandle's young NHL career, it would later be known as the start of the longest Ironman streak in league history. The next few years of Yandle's career would see the defenceman continue to play for Phoenix, take his game to the next level, and cement his reputation as one of the most productive players on the roster. Signed to a 2-year, $2.4 million contract on July 17, 2009, Yandle's 12 goals and 41 points during the 09-10 NHL season, and his 11 goals and 59 points during the 10-11 season, made him the Coyotes' highest scoring defenseman each year, and a top 5 scorer across the entire team. Not only that, the 2011 NHL All-Star had managed to play all 82 regular season games in both of these years too, meaning that he had suited up in 173 consecutive games up until that point. If all of that wasn't impressive enough though, Yandle's strong play would also help Phoenix return to the postseason, as the Coyotes snapped a 6-year drought and made it to the playoffs in consecutive seasons for the first time since the turn of the century. However, despite Yandle scoring 10 points in 11 total games during that span, Phoenix were unable to make it past the first round in either year. Hey, at least they made it, right guys? After his 2-year contract with the Coyotes had expired, and having finished the season as the second highest scorer on the roster, Yandle decided to test the market on July 1st and enter free agency as a UFA. However, the 25-year-old would choose to remain in Phoenix for the foreseeable future, as just a few days later on July 5th, Yandle signed a 5-year, $26.2 million contract with the Coyotes, worth an average annual value of $5.25 million a season. So thanks to his increasingly productive play with each passing season, and thanks to him becoming one of the highest scorers on the team, Yandle would stay with the only NHL team he had ever known for a little while longer, and receive a sizable raise for his services. Though he would no longer be a member of the Coyotes by the time this deal expired, Yandle's Ironman streak would make sizable strides forward over the course of this contract. The following 3 years of Yandle's career would see the defenceman suit up for the Coyotes yet again, score at a similarly high level to seasons past, and continue to play in each and every one of Phoenix's contests. With 11 goals and 43 points during the 11-12 season, 10 goals and 30 points during the lockout-shortened 12-13 season, and with 8 goals and 53 points during the 13-14 season, Yandle had earned his second trip to the All-Star game in 2012, had led the entire Coyotes roster in scoring in each of the past 2 years, and had failed to miss a single game during that span, bringing his Ironman streak to 385 consecutive games. Not only that, Yandle's high-scoring play would also help Phoenix embark on their greatest postseason run in franchise history, as he scored 9 points in 16 games during the 2012 playoffs to help the Coyotes make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, before they were defeated by the eventual Cup champions, the LA Kings. Ooh, so close yet so far. As the 14-15 NHL season began and Yandle entered the penultimate season of his contract, the 28-year-old would suit up for the newly renamed Arizona Coyotes, continue to produce strong scoring numbers from the back end, and look to help the team return to the playoffs after failing to clinch a berth in back-to-back seasons. However, after scoring 41 points in his first 63 games of the year, and with the Coyotes sitting near the bottom of the league standings, Arizona decided that enough was enough. It was time to commit to a complete rebuild of the team and sell off as many roster players as they could to the highest bidders. Since Yandle was in the prime of his career, was leading the entire team in scoring yet again, and since he had another season left on his deal after that year was over, the question wasn't if he would be traded, but when. After several weeks of rumours and speculation, a deal was finally made on March 1st, 2015, as Phoenix traded Yandle, along with Chris Summers and a 2015 4th-round pick, to the New York Rangers, in exchange for John Moore, Anthony Duclair, a 2015 2nd-round pick and a 2016 1st-round pick. So after being drafted by the team a decade prior, and after parts of 9 seasons on the roster, Keith Yandle was taking his talents to Broadway, having scored 311 points in 558 games as a member of the Coyotes, making him the highest scoring defenceman in franchise history at the time. Not only that, he had been named an NHL All-Star twice, had led Phoenix on its greatest postseason run in franchise history, and had played in 448 consecutive games at the time of the trade. Not bad for a guy who was rejected from college, folks? Having made the move to New York, Yandle would spend the rest of that year as well as the following season with the Rangers, and though he would get off to a slow start with his new team, he would end up producing a pretty successful tenure on Broadway. With 11 points in 21 games to conclude the 14-15 season, and with 47 points in 82 games during the 15-16 season, Yandle had not only continued his strong play from his time with the Coyotes, he had brought his Ironman streak to an impressive 551 consecutive games. In the midst of his tenure in New York, Yandle would also make a pair of trips to the postseason, the most notable being in 2015, when Yandle scored 11 points in 19 playoff games, as the Rangers made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, but were eventually eliminated by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Close, but not close enough. Once his 5-year contract he had originally signed with Phoenix had expired, and having scored 225 points in 378 games over the course of the deal, Yandle was due for another lengthy contract and another sizable raise that the cap-strapped Rangers simply couldn't afford. With the two sides unable to come to an agreement, on June 20th, 2016, New York traded Yandle's contract rights to the Florida Panthers, in exchange for a 2016 6th-round pick and a 2017 conditional 4th-round pick. Just 3 days after the deal was made on June 23rd, the 30-year-old would put pen to paper with his new organisation, as he signed a 7-year, $44.5 million contract with the Panthers, worth an average annual value of $6.35 million a season. So thanks to his long and successful tenure in Phoenix, and thanks to his brief yet productive stint with the Rangers, Yandle would spend the later years of his career with another Sunbelt franchise. Though he had just signed the biggest and most expensive contract of his entire pro career, and though he would never reach the end of this deal, Yandle's lengthy tenure in Florida would take both his point production and his Ironman streak to even greater heights. The next 3 years of Yandle's career would see the blueliner join the Panthers roster, register some of the best scoring numbers of his entire pro career, and make sizable additions to his game streak too. With 5 goals and 42 points during the 16-17 season, and with 8 goals and 56 points during the 17-18 season, the former 4th round pick would take his game to an unprecedented level during the 18-19 NHL season, as he produced an impressive 9 goals and 53 assists for 62 points, the most assists and points of his 13-year NHL career. Not only would he register a standout season and earn his 3rd and final trip to the NHL All-Star Game, the defenceman had also played all 82 games in each of his last 3 years, bringing his Ironman streak to a whopping 797 consecutive games. As the 2019-20 season began and Yandle entered the 4th year of his contract with the Panthers, the 33-year-old didn't quite reach the same level of scoring as his career year prior, but he showed no signs of slowing down anytime soon, as he finished the season with 5 goals and 45 points in 69 regular season games. Though you might think that Yandle's Ironman streak had finally been broken since he had only played 69 games that year, the 2019-20 season was suspended prematurely due to the pandemic, and Florida had only played 69 games at the time of the league's decision, meaning that Yandle had once again played in each and every one of the Panthers' contests, and his Ironman streak was still intact, with it sitting at 866 consecutive games by the end of the year. Not only that, Yandle's productive play had also helped Florida punch their ticket to the playoffs for the first time in 4 years, where the defenseman scored 3 points in 4 postseason games, but the Panthers were eliminated in the 2020 play-in round by the New York Islanders. The recent 2021 season saw Yandle take to the ice with Florida for his 5th year with the team and look to continue both his point production and his Ironman streak during the later years of his career. Unfortunately, while he would certainly do the latter, the aging defenseman would struggle to do the former. With the season limited to just 56 games as a result of the ongoing pandemic, Yandle would see his scoring numbers practically cut in half compared to the year prior, as he potted just 3 goals and 27 points during that span. Though his production had clearly taken a step backwards, the 34-year-old had remained in the Panthers lineup for the entire season, and he had played in every contest that year, bringing his Ironman streak to an incredible 922 consecutive games. Despite his somewhat disappointing numbers, Florida were able to return to the playoffs for the 2nd straight year, where Yandle notched 2 points in 3 games, as the Panthers were eliminated in the first round by the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's worth pointing out that whilst Yandle did miss 3 games of that series, his Ironman streak is for consecutive regular season games, so the playoffs don't count towards his total, just in case you were a little confused there. Once his 5th season with the Panthers had concluded, and with his offensive numbers no longer masking his poor defensive play, the Panthers didn't like the idea of paying Yandle over $6 million for each of the next 2 years. With Florida in need of cap space, and with their aging defenseman clearly on the decline, Yandle became the odd man out. On July 15th, 2021, it was announced that the Panthers had bought out the final 2 years of Yandle's contract with the team, thus immediately making him a UFA. Having been thrown into free agency prematurely, and with him just 43 games away from becoming the league's new Iron Man, Yandle was eager to sign elsewhere in the league and break the record. Thankfully, he would get his wish, as on July 28th, he signed a 1-year contract worth $900,000 with the Philadelphia Flyers. So after spending the last half a decade in Florida, and after being unceremoniously kicked off the team, Yandle was taking his talents to the city of brotherly love in the hopes of setting a new NHL record during the twilight years of his career. Would he do so? Yes. Yes, he would. The current 21-22 season has seen Yandle join the Flyers roster for the very first time and look to produce a strong debut year for the team, all while chasing the league's consecutive games record. Though he has struggled on the scoresheet, having potted 0 goals and 13 points in 45 games at the time of this recording, and though Flyers fans haven't been too pleased with Yandle's on-ice play or his -24 rating, the 35-year-old has achieved his goal. After playing his 964th consecutive game against the Dallas Stars on January 24, 2022, and after tying Doug Jarvis's games record that he set all the way back in 1987, less than 24 hours later on January 25th, Keith Yandle took to the ice against the New York Islanders, played in his 965th consecutive game, broke Jarvis's record, and became the owner of the longest Ironman streak in NHL history. So after years of hard work and perseverance, after years of putting his body on the line against the best players in the world night in and night out, Keith Yandle has played more NHL games consecutively than any other player during the league's 105-year history. Not bad for a 4th round pick, eh, folks? Just to put this streak into perspective for you, of the 1,077 NHL games that Keith Yandle has played so far in his career, 967 of them have been played consecutively at the time of this recording. The guy hasn't missed a single regular season game since March of 2009. That's almost 13 years ago now. Not only has he broken a record that stood for nearly 4 decades and become the NHL's new Ironman, Yandle has produced an impressive career in the show during this span, as he has scored 102 goals and 613 points at the time of this recording. He has been named a 3-time NHL All-Star, and he has earned approximately $63 million during that span. Ironman record or not, that's one hell of an NHL career. Whilst avoiding any serious injuries for nearly a decade and a half is an impressive feat in and of itself, and while setting a new Ironman record has been difficult enough in decades past, the current pandemic and the NHL's COVID-related rules could have easily seen Yandle's streak come to a premature end. After all, it would have been easy for Yandle to test positive for COVID over the last few months, be placed on the Flyers protocol list, and be left out of the lineup as a result, leaving his Ironman streak to fall at the final hurdle. If you ask me, the fact that Yandle has been able to avoid the virus all season long and remain in the lineup despite the sizable number of cases around the league makes his breaking of the record even more impressive, as it could have very easily gone the other way and he could be sitting in second place on the list. That said, Yandle has stayed healthy and has set the new record, so he should bask in the moment and enjoy his historical achievement, whether his time in Philly ends up working out or not. Interestingly, Yandle's Ironman streak still faces serious competition, and his record could well be broken in just a few years' time. After all, Arizona Coyotes forward Phil Kessel has currently suited up in 944 consecutive games at the time of this recording, with his streak starting less than half a year after Yandle's in November of 2009. Not only does Kessel's total put him 20 games from tying Doug Jarvis's number in second place, the American forward is just 23 games behind Yandle's record at this moment in time. Given that Kessel is a year younger than Yandle at 34 years old, it's certainly possible that he could end up surpassing Yandle and setting a new record of his own if Yandle retires in the next few years and Kessel continues to find employment in the league while also avoiding injuries or being scratched. Not only that, he could even break his contemporary's record while playing for the team that Yandle was drafted by and spent the first decade of his NHL career with. That would certainly add to the drama of it all, right guys? Whether Kessel will match or surpass Yandle's eventual record certainly remains to be seen in the coming years, but whether he ends up holding the record for just a few seasons, or remains unchallenged for several decades, Keith Yandle's recent achievement is nothing short of incredible. After all, the guy hasn't missed a single regular season game for nearly 13 years straight, and has produced an impressive NHL career while somehow avoiding any serious injuries and the dreaded COVID protocol list. I don't know about you guys, but it's great to see a player's triumph over adversity and his dedication to the game be well worth it in the end. So congratulations on your new record, Mr. Yandle. You've certainly earned it, that's for sure. And that was the story of the NHL's new Ironman. What do you guys think about Keith Yandle's career or his new league record? Did you think that Jarvis's record would never be broken? Do you think that Yandle will hold on to his new milestone for many years to come, or do you think that Phil Kessel will end up taking the top spot in the next few years? Let me know in the comments below, I would love to hear what you guys think. But thank you very much for watching, guys, I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! A big thank you to Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further, and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.